Right, Enzo Maresca's Chelsea suffer a third consecutive defeat yesterday at the hands of Champions League qualification rivals Aston Villa. It was a game where we saw changes from Enzo Maresca, changes in terms of the system and the personnel to this Chelsea side, and it was a game where for a portion, at least, we felt like we might have stumbled upon a recipe for success. However, the storyline that has been a consistent theme over the past couple of months now, I would say, since the middle of December, did end up playing out. Sorry I couldn't get a video out to you guys yesterday. Those of you who follow me closely will know that I was live on the Pain Game covering the boxing of a big Riyadh season card. But to make up for it, not only am I here today, the big dog is here, the channel fan favourite, Joshua Aveste.
I was a little bit surprised that you weren't actually involved in the boxing card, because I heard that there was a boxer on that card that was a builder on site part-time.
Yeah.
And you are actually more qualified than him. Do you want to tell the audience a little bit about this guy?
He was a bloke called Josh Padley. He was crawling through tunnels and whatnot a couple of days ago, and then he went and fought for a world title. So there you go.
Is he in your weight division?
Yeah, it was my weight division. Yeah. I've not got any qualifications.
In terms of on-site qualifications?
Because
I've seen some videos of you standing in concrete that would disagree.
Yeah, no. I've got a level one bricklaying.
Yeah.
Level 1 painting decorating.
Yeah.
Level 1 carpentry.
What out of those three, what were you best at?
Probably painting decorating, but then at the same time I wasn't the best at it because it used to give me a headache.
Okay.
The fumes.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
And then what other qualifications have I got? I've got a GCSE in English.
Yeah.
I've got a GCSE in leisure and tourism.
I bet you did in Magaluf. I bet you did.
I swear to God, when I went to Glyn, they give out GCSEs for a subject called leisure and tourism. And
I didn't even
the
know
selling
that
point when you pick your GCSEs, like what ones you're going to take and whatever. I went, yeah, leisure and tourism. I said, what's that? They went, it's about like, like leisure and tourism and whatnot. And I went, oh, right, sounds boring. They go, we go Fort Park. I went,
oh,
what do you mean? They went, there's a trip to Fort Park. They went, we meet them and talk about like the tourism thing, but that only takes about an hour and a half, and then you get a walk around the park all day and go on rides. So I said, yeah, 2 years for one trip to Fort Park.
Yeah.
Sign me up for that.
Do you know what my fond memory of Thorpe Park is? It was the first time I was ever stung by a wasp.
Well, that's hardly a fond memory.
Yeah. That's the only memory I have of it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Thorpe Park, a bit of a shithole, really.
Yeah.
Is that where they drove the car with one door into Thorpe Park?
What you on about?
The Fiat Cinquecento.
Oh, sorry, the in-betweeners. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was Fort Park. Yeah,
Was
yeah,
it?
yeah. Well, they knocked off the door in the car park.
Yeah,
that was the story.
That
but
was
yeah.
the Banzer, yeah.
But yeah, so I got that, and then I got
What about
film studies.
Okay. What about the fight credentials? You've got some qualifications there.
2 weight division champion on the Queensbury, which was the old unlicensed boxing league I used to box on.
Have you got a PT qualification?
Yeah, I got a level 2 personal trainer or level 2. So I got saying.
It sounds to me like you've actually got quite a lot of qualifications for a man that says he doesn't have many. Sounds like you're multifaceted.
Jack of all trades, master of none. and I've just got the cool little 100,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, that's a qualification in itself, isn't it?
Although it's going down by the day. Lots of people unsubscribing, not too happy with me.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. God knows.
I tell you who doesn't have a lot of qualifications.
Oh.
Enzo Maresca.
Championship winner, mate. Championship winner.
I've done that for manager, mate. That's piss easy, that is, to get the championship manager of the season and the win. That's piss easy.
Do you think it is called for that? And I'm not saying there's large portions of the fan base here doing this, but do you think it's called for, not that Enzo Maresca is coming under criticism, because I'm sure we give him a bit of criticism in this video, but do you think it's it's right that there are already small portions of the fan base calling for Enzo Maresca's head.
Well, can I just say, before I answer that question directly, can I just say, we know that Chelsea is shit right now.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to come on this podcast right now and go, yeah, everything's brilliant. There's loads of positives. We're all really happy. Everything is brilliant. Chelsea are the way they once were. We're not going to do that. But what we are going to do is discuss the game in a fun and interesting way.
That's
right?
the key point there, right? You said we're not going to come on this podcast and do that. We're also not going to, well, I just readjust your camera a little bit there.
Oh, yeah. Thank you
we're
very
also...
much.
Listen, in fact, do whatever you want. But we're also not going to come on this podcast today and just... Look, we're the last ones to get ours out. You've heard it. You've heard everyone else's. Yeah. It's pretty downbeat.
Yeah.
It's pretty deflated.
2 wins in 10.
And it's Sunday. Okay? So...
Day of rest.
So I don't want you getting in the comments and going, oh, you know... Like, say what you want in the comments. But either way, I'm fucking tired. Josh is tired. We're going to try and have a bit of a laugh where we can.
We are, but we're going to discuss the game. It's not like we're just going to brush over and just talk about your bricklaying, for the entire show. Do you know what I mean? We're going to talk about Enzo Maresca laying some bricks.
There you go.
Some foundations.
There you go.
Or lack thereof. I think
some constructive criticism.
You are. Do you know what? He gets better and better at these. I think the way that you phrase that question about Enzo Maresca is disingenuous in that I don't think there are that many people, as you said, calling for his head.
Would you say he's hit a wall?
Keep going. No, okay.
It's always when you say keep going.
Shall we just do this throughout the show?
Yeah,
what we'll do is we'll just try and get
a
building-related pun into as many different segments of the show as we can. I actually think that Enzo Maresca is almost like the least of the problems. And I'll use a key example of this Villa game. Let's be honest, mate, he did tweak the system, didn't he? Like, you look at the way we set up, and for anyone that wants to have a recap, this is how it worked. It was a back four. Reece James was sort of a nominal DM. Are we going to sort of say that? But really, if you look at the average positions, he was in between Malo Gusto and the centre-back. He was dropping in, he was bombing forward. He was sort of one of those utility, almost like a Caicedo-esque sort of utility player, really. Yeah. In that he was sort of bombing up and down. Then you had Enzo in front of a Caicedo, almost in the number 10 role. And you had Christopher Nkunku and Cole Palmer on the wings with Neto as an out-and-out forward. Now, I don't want to say... Now, actually, let me ask you a question, Joey. Did we talk about that being the exact lineup? Did we...
I'm just trying to think if there's ever been points on the channel when potentially at least a month or so before we've suggested, I don't know, bringing a Joshua Changpong into the fold, potentially the possibility of Reece James playing in midfield, potentially the possibility of Pedro Neto playing as the number 9.
I was, and I don't want to overblow this, but I was laughed at when I suggested that on Matisse's channel.
What?
I was laughed at.
What, when you said about Pedro Neto playing number 9?
Not because I was cheating on you, but because I was talking about Pedro Neto being a proper striker and an option up there. People laughed at me. People said Noni was better. People said that Cole Palmer was better. People said that Christopher Nkunku was better.
Nkunku's shit. I'm just going to put it out there now. Do
you know what?
If he goes to Bayern, I think he'll rip it up.
He will.
If he went back to Leipzig, I think he'll rip it up. But it's just... You know what it is? It's one of them ones, You know, like, when the fella don't leave his missus, or vice versa, it works both ways.
Yeah.
I don't leave them because situation means that they can't. But they're just cheating at every opportunity.
Have you ever had a situationship?
What do you mean?
Define a
situationship.
There's a term in Gen Z. I don't know if you speak Gen Z.
What? Sorry, I know. What is Gen Z?
Gen Z is the generation below us. So we're millennials.
90s.
You're only...
Wait, we're what?
We're called millennials.
I thought we're 90s babies.
No, we're called millennials because our coming of age was in around the millennia.
Yeah, I didn't come until the millennium.
You only came quite soon after the millennium.
Yeah, not too long after. But yeah.
I mean, if it was much before, I'd be.
By the way,
worried.
for those who don't understand what we're on about, I was born in 1994.
Yeah.
Work the rest out for yourself.
It was an early bloomer, is all we can say. And Gen Z are the next rung after that. I believe they have to be born after 2000 if you're Gen Z.
Right, so you grew up in like the 2010s
The teens.
and shit. Yeah. Right.
The teenies, as they call them now.
So what was we saying? The Gen Z say what?
I can't even remember what I was talking about.
I
now.
can't remember.
It's been a long look. For context for everyone, I'm moving my mic to make sure I absolutely get this clear. I was working yesterday for, I think, 15 hours.
Yeah, I did 8.5.
Why? What were we talking about with the Gen Z thing?
We were saying something about someone, they say something or whatever.
But what were we talking about?
And it was a terminology that the Gen Zs use. I don't know.
There you go, memory like a sieve.
But either way, Pedro Neto in the number 9. This was one of the ones that we kind of called for.
Yeah.
Look, let's just quickly go over the game.
Yeah.
Typical story of a Chelsea game.
Goal up.
We start
early
off.
doors.
We look quite well.
Yeah.
We look lively. We look good. You know. It's another one of those games where, again, it's always hard to lose a game when a team don't come and turn you over. So let me give you an example, right? You know when we went out the Carling Cup this year to Newcastle?
I tried to not remember it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But it was like a couple of days after we beat them at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
You remember that one, didn't you?
I remember that one.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Forget the cup.
Go on.
But when we went out the cup that day to them, I'm not going to say I didn't have any complaints, but they were just better. They just run us over. Do you know what I mean? Like, they were the deserved winners. If we had pulled off a win in that match, I'd have been like, oh, fucking hell, like, you know, puncher's chance, because they just outplayed us. They outmanned us, bossed off the park and whatnot. Won the battle in midfield, everything. Like, they'd done everything right that day. So you can go, do you know what? Beat by the better man. Yeah. It's kind of like a boxing terminology. Beat by the better man. I could have never beat him. You know what I mean? But if someone that I don't want to say was there for the taking, but you know, well, no, I do want to say there for the taking. We went 1-0 up through Enzo Fernandez. By the way, I think that Enzo Fernandez this season in general, when he has pushed a little bit further forward, looks a lot more comfortable and competent this season than we have seen from him in seasons, in seasons gone by. I'd say, obviously, a season and a half a season. Looked shit in the number 10 last season when he was played there by Mauricio Pochettino. Yeah. And I'm not saying he was all out in the number 10, but definitely progressively getting forward a little bit more. I think generally yesterday and on the whole, I think he's done better when he's been doing that. We go 1-0 up. We have opportunities to go 2-0 up. Enzo himself, 2 opportunities. There was one that was a header, and there was one when he cut inside and shoots, and it actually, you know, it's dipping, but it just doesn't. It dips a fraction of a second too late, because a fraction of a second earlier it ends up in the top corner. It actually ends up hitting the roof of the net. So he had the right idea. Yeah. We typically don't take our chances, and I would say. When I was on the stream and I'm texting you, I've obviously gone back and watched the match since, and it's quite weird watching the match in hindsight, knowing the outcome. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's different, because obviously when I'm on the stream, listen, I'm not being funny. We're working, we're working, yeah. So as much as like you're working as well, you're able to have it on. I'm watching the boxing. I'm not able to actually watch it. No. So I've watched the match since, and it's different when you watch stuff in hindsight, knowing how things play out. I was kind of looking at stats and whatnot as I'm on the stream, because I can see when the camera's on me and when it's not. So when the camera's off, I'm checking the score, I'm seeing substitutions, I'm texting you, what's happened to Chalobah, whatever. Yeah.
Didn't look good, that.
No. But when I watched it back, in hindsight of what I then knew, I felt like it was around the 30-minute mark when the sting was taken out of our tail and Aston Villa started to have a lot more control within the game. Now, again, this is when we'll speak about Enzo Maresca and his management and whatnot. One of my problems here is, again, I don't want to make this an episode where we're talking about the board, we're talking about the directors, and we're talking about all that sort of stuff, because at the end of the day, I think we've made our feelings quite clear on it. Okay, I think you can go back a video, maybe 2 videos. It is. We've made our feelings quite clear on it. In the latest transfer window, and potentially, the summer window as well, they fucked it. Okay, and the policy isn't good in terms of the age of the recruitment and whatnot. I genuinely believe that had we had, even say for example last season at Thiago Silva, perfect example, but had we had a couple of mature, proven 26, 25 to 27 year olds, I would say, on the field, then in those moments around that half hour mark, when we start to lose control of the game, we're able to maybe not win it back, but just nullify the other team taking control. And once we started to lose control of the game, again, this is why I speak about it being different in hindsight, knowing the outcome. It did feel quite inevitable that Aston Villa were going to get at least the goal back, if not 2.
You
Would you
say
agree
that
with
though.
that?
You say that though, but having watched it live, you mentioned this earlier on, but we had plenty of chances.
We were still creating chances,
and I would say chances in which we could have killed the game off. Like, I do think we have to now talk about the Cole Palmer chance, because I think we've mentioned, I think Nkunku had a really good shot in the first half, that Martinez parried away. Enzo had that opportunity, as you say. There were chances in the first half. The chance in which Cole Palmer makes such an uncharacteristic error, where he slips over and really had about 3 or 4 bites of the cherry.
But he's got to knock it onto Nkunku, in my opinion.
This is the thing, right? And this is why I'm actually slightly annoyed at all the hate that Nkunku gets. And I is this a good time to talk about Nkunku right now? Can we dive into this?
We can dive into it. Finish with the Cole Palmer opportunity, so they know they didn't watch the match and they haven't since watched the highlights.
The Cole Palmer opportunity, he slips over. Martinez slips over twice, the goalkeeper. He's outside the box. I feel that Cole Palmer 2 months ago chips that over the goal. He doesn't even think about it, and it goes in the back of the net, and we celebrate, and it's 2-0 or 2-1 at that time. And the game's done.
Yeah.
The game's over. If we score that second goal, the game is, at least a draw. You know, the game is, you never count anything with Chelsea's defence at the moment. But look, at least a draw, but probably a win. But, as you say, Nkunku had that opportunity. He was screaming for the ball. And people have said Nkunku's body language is so negative at the moment, and he obviously doesn't want to be at Chelsea. I look at Nkunku and go, fuck me, there's so many opportunities where someone could have passed him and he would have had a tap in. And I think Nkunku's more furious internally about the lack of opportunities that he's had to prove his value.
Yep.
I think it's more about, I feel that he thinks he is good enough to start for Chelsea, and he hasn't been played in the right position, and he hasn't got the chances when they fall to him. Cole Palmer, I understand why he shoots, but fuck me, you've got a guy there that needs a goal more than you do, and it would have been a tap.
He's onside. You can pass the ball forward. He runs onto it and taps it in. He would have done that. Thought Nkunku definitely looked better off of the wing than he looked, or at least a little bit wider.
Was he on the
those
wing?
front two? Well, it was. It kind of reminded me, not from the back, but from the top end. It kind of reminded me of the Champions League final formation.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Like what? So basically, out of possession, it's almost like a 5, but with Reece pushing into the midfield, and then with 2 central attackers behind the striker, is what you're saying.
Yeah, more or less. More or less. Yeah,
I agree. I think that's the way
and that's where I felt Nkunku looked a little bit better.
If
and
you
that's
look
why
at
when there were rumours of an Nkunku move to Manchester United,
yes, that
because
would
of
have
the
made
system,
complete sense.
because of the system they played,
Complete sense.
I went, do you know what? He'd probably go there and look really good. Yeah. And then in yesterday's game, where we played a similar-ish system in terms of when we were going forward, I thought, okay, yeah, Nkunku looks a little bit better doing that. Saying that, spoiler alert, for the Southampton preview, I won't actually be starting Nkunku in my lineup for that game. But what we are going to do is we're going to, rather than just coming to a conclusion on the lineup, we are going to debate that lineup. So it's your chance. The floor is open. Let's speak about Christopher Nkunku. Did he do enough yesterday to show you that he should have been picked over the likes of a Jadon Sancho, who was obviously, let's be honest, the only real
senior
substitution. No, the only real substitution. Like, the
Yeah.
other substitution was forced upon you within 12 minutes or so. 71 minutes, you bring Jadon Sancho on.
Does he change the game?
Not really, no.
But just quickly, I know what you are thinking. I look amazing. I feel amazing. I smell amazing. And the reason why is because of Manscaped. More specifically, the Beard and Balls bundle, which is your all-in-one grooming solution to keep you polished from head to toe. So join over 12 million men who trust Manscaped worldwide and use my promo code Joey Knight for 20% off and free shipping. So let's talk about the beard. You like it, I like it, and the women definitely like it. And I use the Beard Hedger to keep it looking so fresh and elegant up top. With 20 adjustable settings on the Beard Hedger, it will help you achieve your desired beard length effortlessly. From subtle stubble to a well-defined beard. And then we have the Lawnmower 5.0, which is perfect for using down below, ensuring a smooth and comfortable experience even in those sensitive areas. And speaking of those technologies, they have something called the Skin Safe technology, which saves you from any unwanted cuts or nicks in those sensitive areas. And with up to 60 minutes of runtime on the Beard Hedger and 75 minutes of runtime on the Lawnmower 5.0, you will never be rushed to achieve your perfect look. But even if you are in a rush, you can take these bad boys into the shower because they are waterproof. And even in those dark regions of your body, you will be fine because you can use the precision lighting which comes with the Lawnmower 5.0. They're travel friendly, they are your grooming tools, always staying safe in transit, and they are the perfect companions for all of your journeys. And the best part of all of this is it is completely risk-free because Manscaped are giving you a 30-day money-back guarantee if you do not like the product. So don't cut corners on your grooming routine and upgrade to the Beard and Balls bundle from Manscaped today. Remember, visit the link in the description and use my code Joey Knight to get 20% off and free shipping. Thank you very much once again to Manscaped for sponsoring another video. Let's get back into it.
No. But I'm not gonna lie and go, oh, you know, the bench, the options. What are the options? Keenan Dewsbury Hall. Do you think he comes on and does that much? Doubt it.
Well, your favourite player.
Tyrick George.
Your favourite new player. You haven't even mentioned him.
Oh, I'm about to. Tyrick George was on the bench. Now, one of the bright lights from a very, very dark day in terms of the defeat to Brighton that we had was Tyrick George came on, had a cameo, showed a bit of class. But my boy Shimmy, who doesn't even know that his name's Shimmy.
No. He does, because he watches the show.
He'll be a watcher of the channel.
Yeah.
So the Shim dog was on the bench.
Shim man.
Why not fucking bring him on, mate?
Do you know why? Because I think Pedro Neto had probably one of his... I don't think this is an exaggeration. Probably one of his best performances in Chelsea show.
Yeah, wouldn't have had to come off the bench for Pedro Neto.
Oh, you're saying you dropped Neto in? Drop Neto into the 10.
Neto into the 10 space, or one of the two 10s we'd call it.
Who would you have taken off?
Mount Werner-esque behind
Nkunku for him.
I would have taken Nkunku off put Shimmy on, and then I would have put Pedro Neto behind in there. And you could see from the goal that we scored that, whether it was Pedro Neto through the middle as he was for a lot of it, you can still do that job coming in off the side and feeding someone in there.
Do you know what? I feel sympathy for... Sorry, mate. I feel sympathy for Enzo Maresca. And I don't think anyone's talking about this, in that he's going through a period now where if he gets many more defeats, there'll be immense pressure on him and he could potentially lose his job. Let's be no bones about it.
I think that's pretty laughable.
Yeah,
I think that's stupid.
Yeah, but we're just talking about facts, aren't we? Like, let's not worry about what we think and what we believe. But I think there's a realistic thing where young players have come into the team and I think they've been overwhelmed by the pressure. Like, bear in mind, our team is so young already. Like, do you remember when Jose Mourinho was thinking about slapping Thomas Callis at the back? Or do you know what I mean? There were other young players. First of all, they were 21, not 17 or 18. Yeah. And second of all, they were coming into a team with basically everyone else as seasons pros that had been at the top level for 5 or 6 years. Yeah, like proven, title-winning, elite international level players. And so I actually feel really sorry for Maresca, and I feel sorry for the young players because they are like a whole nother level young and inexperienced.
And do you know what
and
the
in
hard
the
thing
pressure
is?
that we're now against Villa, a Champions League rival, it through to the round of 16, is it now in the Champions League?
Yeah.
They're going to go through
They're gonna go
Bruges.
through Bruges,
They're going to go into the quarterfinals. They're probably going to get through the quarterfinal because their quarterfinal isn't even that difficult either.
What is cool?
They've got another really easy
Could
draw. I
come
can't remember.
up
I can't remember who it
against
is.
PSV maybe?
Yeah, it's like another easy one. But yeah, like I think they'll challenge us. So I don't think you want to chuck. This is the thing. What was the game where Josh played as a centre back, and he had to muck in? Can you remember that?
He played against Barrow.
Yeah, but there was
But
a
the
Premier League game.
that he played
Yeah.
was away against Ipswich when
Yeah,
we lost.
where we
I
lost.
believe.
Yeah.
I believe.
So I think Maresca's been burnt by that experience, and I think he's going to be playing less and less young players.
And you know what
as
the hard
opposed
thing
to-
for Enzo Maresca is as well?
Yeah.
Right? You're in a lose-lose situation because you're in a lose if you don't play these players. And by the way, I know I'm contradicting myself now because I'm saying I want to see Shim. How do I pronounce his surname? You're always better.
Mayuka.
Mayuka brought into the team, right? Because we're short of options. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And sometimes what you find is, especially with young number 9s, young forwards, someone gets thrust in that you've never heard of, the commentary. Oh, okay, this kid... Federico Makeda coming off the bench for Man United ends up scoring a winner, ironically, against Aston Villa.
Was that? Was that
yeah,
against Villa?
It was 3-2 win
Wow.
against Aston Villa. Scored in the following match, I think, against Sunderland, by the way. I've got
Yes.
photographic memory. Anyway, right? So
Weird
sometimes,
memory.
So I know, I know, just weird in general. Sometimes these things happen. Someone will come off the bench and whatnot, and they'll be able to make a name for himself, make an impact, and this is something that I believe that we could see. The other side of things is Harry Redknapp, right, used to get this. Plenty of managers.
Terrific
Terrific little manager. Sam
You said on the
Allardyce.
stream last night, it killed me.
Yeah. Sam Allardyce. Who else used to do it? Your old school manager. I mean,
Moise.
Jose used to do it all the time, right? And that is what the media call throwing players under the bus. Yeah.
Ooh.
So this is why I'm saying Enzo Maresca is in a lose-lose situation, because he's in a lose situation with the likes of, let's say, for example, a Tyreek George, who I do believe is ready to start Premier League matches now. Yeah. I'm not saying he needs to be a week in, week out starter, but I'm also saying that maybe if our injury crisis wasn't what it was, then I wouldn't be saying that. But where we are at this moment in time, Tyreek George, I think, could be ready to start Premier League matches.
At least come off the bench.
At least come off the bench. Let's say Shin Mayuka would be someone that I would be looking to, right? Now, the lose of this scenario is that if you don't play him, then the fans will go, well, you've got a kid on the bench who's banging in goals for the under-21s. Like, why don't you give him an
I
opportunity?
mean, Shimmy scored 3 goals in 13 games, but yeah, like he scored goals.
Yeah,
in
but
PL2.
Still, either way. And you've got a kid in Tyreek George who every time he's come onto the pitch, I believe he's looked good. When he's played in the Europa Conference League games, I believe he's looked good. So that's the lose of it if you don't bring him on. But then you also lose if you explain why. Because if you explain why, and this is when I come back to the managers throwing players under the bus, yeah, what's the reason? If I sit and go to you, Enzo Maresca, why are you not going with any of the kids here?
Yeah.
The same way I could go, Enzo Maresca, why are you not giving Jorgensen chances when Sanchez is making mistakes all the time? And if you're Enzo Maresca, you're probably going to have to sit there, if you're being completely honest, and tell what is your truth,
Which
but
is
what
the quality.
but what the
Yeah.
media perceive as throwing that player under the bus. And your truth is, you don't see him on the training ground, I see him on the training ground, believe me, makes just as many mistakes.
Yeah.
And
Which
that
is-
might be
which is
wrong,
true.
and
No,
that might
I
be
think that's
right.
true.
But on last night's performance, we're
Yeah.
going to have to go back to speaking about the game. Obviously, Villa get the equaliser, and then a huge error in the what minute was it?
It was, I think it was 70 or 80 odd.
What?
The second goal was about
second goal?
70. Maybe it was 80.
I thought it was 80. I thought it was
think
like
it was.
88 or
No, I think it was actually. I think it was. I think
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah, I think I'm misremembering the first goal.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But-
it was close to the end.
Yeah.
We didn't have a chance really to equalise. I think there was 8 minutes of it at a time, basically, at the end.
Yeah. It was the 89th minute.
There you go.
So 89th minute,
Yeah.
Jorgensen. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, but the good work that he had done in the match was undone in
Well,
one
what's
moment.
crazy about this is that he had so many very good saves. He had a really good save in the first half where he, I think it was Asensio actually, again, coming off the right-hand side, takes a shot. He gets a really good block in. Right before that goal, I sent you a text message saying Jorgensen has done a wonder save because basically we were 3-on-2 and he's pulled a really good save out with his legs. Celebrated like he just scored a goal, which was brilliant. I'd love to see that when goalkeepers celebrate really good saves. And then he makes a complete howler. And I think you and I have to put our hands up here in that we were calling for Jorgensen to play.
Yep.
And I think what I would say though about when we said that is that he's going to make mistakes as well.
Yeah.
But I would rather and I think there's almost like a direct quote of you and I saying this, where we said we'll deal with those mistakes if it means that we're not just passing the ball out directly.
Well, here's what I want to counter it with, right?
Yeah.
Jorgensen last night made a mistake in the 89th minute that cost us the match. The fault is on him. The blame is on him, right? Until that point, I ain't gonna say been perfect, but until that point, solid performance.
I think he's been really good.
Nothing bad at all about it. Solid performance.
Yeah.
The reason I don't say really good is because I don't think he made like any wonder saves that I'd be like, oh my god.
No,
like,
but he kept the ball out of the back of net with two pretty good. I would say two very good opportunities where they should have scored.
Fair play. So good.
Yeah,
Had a good match. Good match. More than solid. Good, right? But the thing is, his one led to a goal that ended up losing us even the opportunity of getting a point in the 89th minute. My counter to that would be that if you go through and look at every single match, Robert Sanchez, on form and on history, has never gone more than 130 minutes, because I'm saying Robert Sanchez has gone a whole match without making a mistake before, right? But he's never gone, I'd say, more, so he's gone 90, I'd say he's never gone more than 130 minutes of football on the pitch without making a mistake leading to an error. More often than not, there's one probably every 25 minutes or so, yeah? So what I'm saying is, if Robert Sanchez had started that match in goal, okay, it might not have been the dramatic fashion of the mistake that lost us the game, but believe me, he would have made a mistake probably leading to a goal.
The most
so what I was
depressing part
always
of that-
trying to say
Yeah.
the whole time, sorry to interrupt you, but the point I was always trying to say the whole time was, there's a reason why he hasn't switched to Jorgensen sooner, and that is something that he sees on the training ground. And now we're seeing it in the matches. And by the way, this isn't a let's all bash Jorgensen session, because by the way, I'm going to, another spoiler alert here, I'm going to put Jorgensen in my starting lineup now.
I think it would be such a mistake to drop Jorgensen now.
No, I would like
I
to
think it'd be
stick
such a
with
mistake.
Jorgensen now. Bearing in mind also, Jorgensen's best performance for me in a Chelsea shirt came against Southampton. But I'm going to stick with Jorgensen here. So it's not me bashing Jorgensen, but I'm just also trying to give a little bit of props in a time where there's going to be no props to the manager. And I don't even think it's props. I think it's a little bit of sympathy to the manager.
It's sympathy, for sure.
And it's sympathy rather than props, for sure. To the manager, and just say, look, guys, like, we were kind of warning you of this.
We don't want to make this about the board, but again, like, this is such a laboured point, but we do have a lot of goalkeepers.
No, mate. We do want to make this about the board. We do want to make this about the board.
But I don't. But I find this point so boring.
I find it boring. But I just said lose situation for Enzo Maresca. Lose fucking situation for us, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Lose situation for us. Have a look at the comments. If you don't want to make it about the board, and you don't want to look, it's
about the board. I'm just bored of talking about. I'm bored of the board.
I'm bored of talking it. I'm bored of talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm bored of talking about it. I didn't get into, listen, again, I've said this on a video so many times, I didn't get into doing this style of content, to do negative content, right? There's a reason why, from the first time that you ever come to the studio and the first time that we ever met, I'm like, right, fuck it. Like, yeah, I'm not saying I'm not up for collabing with other creators and stuff like that. Done bits of Benson, done bits of Matisse. Sure, I'll do bits of everyone else in the future. But there's a reason why I was like, right, fuck it, let's just try and get Josh back every single week when we can.
And it basically has been ever since.
And it has been, because we have a laugh and we have fun, and that's what I want it to be.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like, I am someone, listen, right, I'm someone that the way my brain is wired up is like, I can go to them dark spaces. Do you know what I mean? And it's easy. You get me texting you at night all the time going, I was texting you the other night going, I might just fucking quit YouTube, bro. Everyone.
How crazy is that, by the way, that he was even saying that?
I literally...
That would be the worst mistake of your life.
We put out our video on the protests, and I said, I thought I made it like really, really clear. I was like, by the way, like, I'm not going to the protest because I've got a really important spar that night. I'm in a camp for a fight that is happening in a matter of weeks. I'm in a camp for a fight. The fight is a financially life-changing, opportunity for my family and whatnot. Ultimately, my daughter and my family to me is very, very valuable to me, and I need to prioritise that as much as I would love to be at other things and do other things and whatnot. Got a load of stick in the comments, and I sat there and I'm texting you and I'm like, bruv, I might just stop doing YouTube. Like, and obviously, I wake up.
He doesn't mean it, guys.
No, but I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I actually feel bad on you because I'm like, Josh has probably got loads to do, like on his own plate, and he's got me throwing my toys out the pram and going, people are being horrible to me in the comments and whatnot. But the point I'm trying to make here is like, the board deserves stick. The reason we lost that game yesterday, for me, is to do with the transfer business, is to do with the directors and the board and whatnot, and because what I'm saying is, I think that with more senior players in that team, I believe that we don't let the lead slip and we do build on the lead. And I believe that that's something we've seen time in, time out. And I believe that in January, there was an opportunity to address it. I believe that in the next window, this needs to be addressed. This needs to be addressed because as much as you can say, we have stockpiled some of the best creative talent going forward, I'm not denying it. Levi Colwell's coming under stick. I think he's going to be one of the best English defenders that we've seen, in a long time, right? I look at the likes of Melo Gusto. He'll come in for stick last night because he had a bit of a shocker. But at the end of the day, I do think that Melo Gusto is going to be a player that plays at a very high level for years to come. Caicedo and Enzo, 100%. Cole Palmer, Esteval coming in. I think we've got so much immense talent there, but we need some here and now boys, And the here and now boys are what need to get brought in this next transfer window. And the fact that we didn't do it when we had the opportunity, even let's say, for example, while we're on the topic of Aston Villa, a Douglas Luiz who we were linked with, that's someone that could have come in and in a game like yesterday's could have made a bit of a difference in terms of shoring things up and grasping back a little bit of control, having been there and done it and played at a high level.
What I'm sick of the most and what I'm ready to leave behind in the end of this season are the PR briefings. And we saw this week and I found it very interesting. I tweeted about this because Enzo Maresca in his pre-match press conference for the Aston Villa game did a complete 180 in what he'd said previously. And he came out and said, no, we are challenging, we want to be challenging for titles. Champions League is what we should be striving for. Chelsea should be winning titles and cups and trophies. And that was so different from what we had said and heard previously, because what Enzo Maresca was always saying was, we're not in a title race. We never were. We're way too early in our journey. And he was managing expectations. Now, someone has got in his ear, probably the member of the PR team that is on the board, and has said, we need to completely change the thinking here. We need to be seen as being a forward-thinking, upwardly mobile football club, and we need to stop downplaying the expectations of the fans because the fans expect us to be winning titles. Mm-hmm. So what you could do very quickly is negate all of this sort of chatter all around the club right now, and you can go out and say, we are going to be out there challenging for the very highest level and challenging for titles, right? Now, what I want to stop is this whole gaslighting of our fans, because we're not stupid. The people that watch this channel, the fans that go to Stamford Bridge, the fans that are watching all around the world are not stupid. They know that this squad has been mismanaged and this transfer business is not good. And what I'm sick and tired of is the board and the directors of football saying to us, oh no, we've got a plan. There's an approach here. We know what we're doing. No, you don't. Like you have an approach, you have a strategy. That doesn't mean your strategy is successful, both in the short term and the long term. The fact is they bring in players like Cesare Casadei, and they say to us, what we're going to do with Cesare Caste is improve him. If he's good enough, he'll play for us. If he isn't good enough, we'll sell him and we'll make some money. They didn't make any money. So again, stop gaslighting us and treating us like idiots, where you're going, the reason why we got to sell Conor Gallagher is for PSR reasons, and that will be reinvested, and we'll get 3 other Conor Gallaghers that are wonder kids, and we'll progress them, and at least one of them will find a place in our squad, and if they don't, we'll make money on them. That's not what you're doing. So stop bullshitting us that we're idiots and we don't know that that's going on. Like, we know that you're fucking up. And so just come clean. Just own your decisions.
Yeah.
Like, and again, we talked about this in the last episode. Performance reviews. Enzo Maresca, in a fucking fire right now, could lose his job. If we lose to Southampton, do you know what? Actually, I'm going to say this. If we don't get 4 points in the next 2 games, there is a very strong possibility that he will be gone at the end of the season, because we won't get anywhere near Champions League.
Yep.
If we don't do that, right? And we're just talking facts. I'm not talking opinions. That's just facts, right? He's under scrutiny. Every single one of the young players that they've assembled are all under scrutiny right now, aren't they? Like, Malo Gusto makes a last-ditch touch to try and stop the ball from going to Marcus Rashford, but still manages to pass it straight to him, really. And he then puts the assist in. Like, every single one of those players, let alone the goalkeepers, let alone the strikers, let alone Nkunku, let alone João Felix, who's now had to go. There are so many failures that we could go on for days and days and days for. And this is why I'm actually glad that the protest is going ahead. While I won't be involved, you know, I don't particularly want to go and protest. I don't feel like it's gone that far. I don't think we're at a European Super League level. Like, that would be the level in which I need to get out and protest with my feet, and getting out there in Stamford Bridge. I think we do need to say, the director of football, this is your wake up call.
Yeah.
You need to, and you know what worries me as well.
But the process will do that.
But what worries me as well is that there's a sentiment, and you said this earlier, just buy 5 28-year-olds or 27-year-olds. That worries me, because we've done that and it hasn't worked. Like, Tosin is older than you think.
26, yeah.
I don't want to be disingenuous to Tosin, but Tosin is not Chelsea level. I'm sorry.
Not of what we aspire to be, no.
Well,
And
no, but Chelsea isn't about aspiration. You and I, right? It's not about what we aspire to be. It's what Chelsea is. Like, we're not talking about getting a player that might have got in a Fulham team. We're talking about the best player that Fulham had.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we should be going for. Paulinho that left Fulham.
There you go.
He was the best player that they had. Right? That's the level that we should be going for. So, like, again, there's gaslighting that's even going on with those players. Like, Christopher Nkunku, brought in, should have been the best player at Chelsea. And he hasn't been. So, like, there are consistent errors, and yes, there are gambles. They have to take gambles.
But this is why when you say it's not at that level yet, this is why I'm getting towards the level where, and do you know what? I'll be very interested to see the turnout for the protest.
It's going to be a lot more after the result.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to be doing a live stream for the game. I will probably be only going live about 5-10 minutes maximum before the game, because I've got sparring at 7. Games are 8:15 kickoff.
Sounds about right. Let me confirm it now.
Yeah, games an 8:15 kickoff, so I think I'll be able to get home and get live for about 8 o'clock. So I will be live.
Shit.
I know, yeah. I will be live for the game. But the reason that I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, listen, I'm getting to the point where I'm wanting to protest is, as I say, in this next transfer window, if I don't see clear business done early on as well, so that Enzo Maresca has a chance to work with them, that tells me that you are doing something now to change the here and now, then yeah, after that, if I don't see that, then I would be protesting.
This is the thing as well, it's like, do you remember when we signed Romelu Lukaku, we thought we were going to go win the league?
Yep.
I'm talking about that level. Like, I'm talking about that level of excitement.
Yeah.
You need to bring in a player where you're like, bloody hell, what? Like, how the fuck have you pulled that off?
Yeah, we have done that though, by the way. Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so let's not pretend that we haven't made statement signings. But what I'm saying is there needs to be a signing of a player who, and I should have a name that comes to mind right now, but of a player who's 25, 26 years old, has already, maybe for one reason or another, let's say, for example, a player that Madrid have got that Jude Bellingham might have forced out of the team, but still is a Champions League winner, has that experience. There needs to be a signing of a player or two like that.
I mean, like a Rafael Leao would be an interesting one, for example, wouldn't he? Been at AC Milan, is a big name, would be on high wages. The Atletico Bilbao player, Nico Williams. He would be a really good signing.
Yeah.
That would be, if you signed a player of that level, I would go, okay, fair enough. You've shut me up. Do you know what I mean?
The only thing there is you've mentioned two wingers. I'm more thinking, I'm more thinking. I'm looking at it and I'm going, well, no, goalkeeper number 9.
Okay, well, you're thinking of like a Kobel at Borussia Dortmund, for example, who's played at the top level, or you're also thinking about.
I just want leaders. I just want some leader
Gyökeres.
mentality. I just want some leader mentality.
Yeah.
Is what I'm looking for here. But either way, we've got on to talking about the board again, which I don't want to do. We're going to wrap this one up because we are going to be doing our Southampton preview. But before we do wrap it up, I just had a message off a long-term watcher, always watching all of the videos, commenting on the videos, Jordan, and I want to dedicate today's episode to his brother, Brandon, who very unfortunately passed away over the weekend. So big love. Everyone, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and we will see you all in the next one.